A young man awakens with low-level talents, yet he feels invincible because he also awakens the ability to copy others' talents. Anyone or creature he touched would have their talents copied and made available for his own use. Velocity talent. Blade mastery talent. Shadow manipulation talent. Even the healing talent. The man named Ye Tian was originally considered a waste due to his low-level awakened talent, making it seemingly impossible for him to enter the ranks of martial artist. However, everything changed when he had a chance encounter with his younger sister. He discovered an unseen dialogue box in his vision, displaying his sister's unawakened talents. Surprisingly, a prompt also appeared, asking if he wanted to copy those talents. Uncertain of the number of times he can replicate talents, Ye Tian hesitates. If he only has one chance, he wants to copy at least a moderate-level talent. Soon, Ye Tian arrives at the 5th Academy of Seaward Base, where many students possess middle-level talents. In order to smoothly infiltrate the school and interact with more outstanding students, Ye Tian enrolled in the compulsory body build-up exercise. As long as he could pool a mass of energy before his chest, he would meet the admission requirements. After a while, people on the field began to collapse one after another due to exhaustion. Despite Ye Tian's perseverance, he ultimately failed to pool the energy mass. Just as he lamented his low talent, a voice nearby caught his attention. It turned out that a student with middle-level talent was being surrounded by new students, eagerly lining up to shake hands with him. But in Ye Tian's eyes, the student before him was merely a tool for him to copy talents. At the moment Ye Tian shook hands with him, an imperceptible purple energy flashed by, and then the system prompted that the middle-level talent has been copied. Witnessing this, Ye Tian hurried to the back mountain of the school. After some consideration, he chose to take in the talent. The next moment, energy around him rapidly converged into his body, followed by excruciating pain that felt like being bitten by millions of ants, distorting his facial expression in agony. After enduring the torment, he exhaled and saw on the panel that his training talent had changed from low to middle. Seeing this, Ye Tian forced a smile on his face. Being able to upgrade his talent level to change his destiny was worth the pain. Just then, another panel popped up, indicating, "Your copy talent cooldown starts. Duration, 30 days. He could copy other talents again. Ye Tian felt extremely excited, but soon he calmed down and began to practice the body build-up exercise he had learned during the day. Unexpectedly, this time, he pooled the energy mass in just 2.5 minutes. He was deeply shocked. He didn't expect that after obtaining middle-level talent, practicing body build-up exercise would be so simple. He was no longer satisfied with just being a martial artist, his goal was to become a martial elite, or even a martial master. A month later, a silver beast was running towards the human area. A father was walking with his young daughter, passing by Ye Tian, when suddenly, in the next moment, a dark figure flashed by and swiftly bit off the father's head. The speed was so fast that Ye Tian couldn't react in time. It wasn't until he heard the girl's screams that he realized the creature before him was a ferocious beast. Facing the pressure of a ferocious beast for the first time, Ye Tian trembled in fear. Before he could regain his senses, the silver beast pounced towards the girl again. Ye Tian quickly picked up the girl and tried to escape, but no matter how he ran, he couldn't shake off the silver beast. Just as he thought it was over, a man wielding a long sword arrived in time. With a single sword strike, he shattered the ground and successfully drove the silver beast back. Seeing the situation, the silver beast slowly retreated, revealing a hint of intelligence uncommon in ordinary ferocious beasts in its eyes. The man turned to Ye Tian and instructed, "Kid, leave the silver moon merc to me. You protect this girl." Ye Tian agreed, as his current strength was not enough to confront a ferocious beast. In the next moment, the man charged towards the silver beast with his sword, engaging in a fierce battle. Ye Tian tightly covered the girl's eyes, not wanting her to witness the bloody scene. After a few exchanges, the man gradually gained the upper hand. Seizing the opportunity, he sent a powerful strike that successfully sent the ferocious beast flying. Although he was very strong, the silver beast was incredibly fast, and he alone couldn't kill it. He immediately called out, and two teammates jumped out from the buildings on both sides. Faced with the combined attack of the three individuals, the silver beast took advantage of a gap and tried to escape. The man lunged with his sword, aiming at the fleeing beast. The sword pierced through the silver beast's chest, and the teammates couldn't help but comment on how weak the beast was. As soon as the words fell, the beast's claws suddenly twisted in a strange way. Then, the fur on the silver beast rapidly transformed into red. Everyone immediately recognized this as a manifestation of the beast's bloodline eruption, and they quickly retreated to avoid the attack. Meanwhile, the silver beast seized the opportunity and fled swiftly towards the periphery. But the man's face showed no sign of worry, instead, it was filled with confidence. Suddenly, a figure appeared above the direction where the silver beast was escaping. The woman exerted all her strength, pulling the bowstring taut, and shot an arrow, piercing the silver beast's body on the spot. Watching the silver beast fall from 100 meters high, a smile spread across the man's face. Took down another fierce beast. Feels great. However, as everyone shared the joy of victory, Ye Tian stared at the silver beast's corpse, his expression slightly dazed. The talent of that beast was elementary speed talent. If he could replicate it, his strength would surely skyrocket. But at that moment, the silver beast's claws began to move strangely again. Slowly rising, it was about to launch a surprise attack while everyone was off guard. The man immediately sensed something was wrong and shouted, "You guys, scatter. That thing is still alive." The silver beast let out a roar, preparing to fight the man desperately. However, injured as it was, it stood no chance against the man. Suddenly, a figure darted swiftly towards the silver beast. After a month of cultivation, Ye Tian had gained considerable strength. With just one punch, he knocked the silver beast's head down. Not stopping there, he swiftly moved behind the monster, then raised both fists and bombarded it wildly, as if venting his inner anger. He continued until the silver beast was completely dead, and then slowly withdrew his fist embedded in the beast's body. A voice sounded in his ear, "Fierce beast talent successfully copied." Upon witnessing this scene, the man didn't say much. He simply instructed his teammates to drag the corpse away and take care of the little girl. Before leaving, he looked at Ye Tian solemnly and said, "Young man, when you become a martial artist, remember to come find me at the Wind Wolf Squad." Hearing this, Ye Tian hadn't fully recovered from killing the fierce beast. He simply replied, "Okay." Back home, he cleaned the blood off his face to avoid frightening his sister. As he looked at his sleeping sister, Ye Tian had many things on his mind but didn't dare to say them aloud. Today was the first time he had seen a fierce beast with his own eyes, far more terrifying than in stories. In order to protect his sister in this world where monsters roamed freely, he had to become a martial artist as soon as possible. Silently, Ye Tian took a towel and stuffed it into his mouth. The replication of the fierce beast's talent onto a human body was an unknown territory. It could be even more painful or deadly than the previous fusion of talents. But in order to become stronger, he had to risk it all. "Come on, let me see what will happen." Instantly, a sharp pain caused Ye Tian's pupils to dilate. His bones felt like they were being crushed into pieces, and even his limbs began to distort severely, yet the pain persisted. The next moment, his legs began to fracture directly, and the sudden turn of events filled him with despair. Could it be that the talent replication had failed? Ye Tian desperately tried to call out to his sister Ye, but found himself unable to produce any sound. It wasn't until the next day that Ye Tian jolted awake from the floor and saw that his limbs were completely intact. He was greatly surprised. Upon moving his body, he found it to be more than 10 times lighter. Ye Tian glanced at the system panel and was astonished to find that he had successfully fused the fierce beast's speed talent. Eagerly, he went to the mountains behind the academy to test his new talent. With a powerful thrust of his legs, he turned into a bolt of lightning, racing forward at a speed comparable to yesterday's slain silver beast. Even leaping from a 100-meter cliff, his body landed as gently as a feather. At this moment, his speed was already comparable to a bullet. With this alone, he was already on par with martial artist. However, Ye Tian knew that his overall strength was still far from enough. The key now was to accelerate his cultivation speed even further. Just at that moment, Ye Tian's good friend, Zhang Bao, brought unexpected news. He revealed that the higher the level of the bloodline within the savage beast's blood, the greater the enhancement it provided for cultivation. Ye Tian hadn't expected the blood of fierce beasts to have such effects. Immediately, He thought of the silver beast's corpse from last night, which was simply a waste. But Zhang Bao informed him of a method to obtain savage beast blood, which was through the trials conducted by the 5 academies. These trials offered the prize of savage beast blood to the winners. Moreover, the fierce beasts in the wilderness had all been cleared out, leaving only their offspring, the fierce animals, relatively safe. Hearing this, Ye Tian pondered for a moment, feeling quite tempted. At this point, Zhang Bao joked, "Ye Tian, why don't you join my team? We can get our hands on the beast blood together, what do you say?" In Zhang Bao's view, Ye Tian's inferior talent could hardly make any difference, so he was sure Ye Tian wouldn't refuse. However, Ye Tian looked hesitant, becoming evasive. He then expressed that he wouldn't team up with them for now. After all, if he joined a team with so many people, it would inevitably lead to a lot of trouble if his special abilities were exposed. A month later, Ye Tian returned to school and applied to the teacher to participate in the test. The teacher chuckled and threw a piece of paper at Ye Tian's face. "I thought I'd let you live a few more days, but I didn't expect you to be in such a hurry to die. It turns out this isn't just any ordinary test, participating means signing a life and death contract." The teacher looked disdainfully at Ye Tian. "If you're afraid of death, then get out. I'm so tired of you worthless low-talent trash." Ye Tian didn't respond. He then slowly walked out of the office, the life and death contract on the desk bearing Ye Tian's name. The next day, when his sister woke up, she found a note left by Ye Tian. He used the excuse of a school activity to explain that he would be gone for 3 days, in order to alleviate his sister's worries. At this moment, Ye Tian had already arrived in the wilderness where the tests were held. The venue was divided into 5 zones according to the strength of the academies. Although there were many fierce beasts in the wild, what was more terrifying here was human nature. Not only could one hunt fierce beasts, but also hunt other people. The weak are often perceived as expendable in the eyes of the strong. Just then, a young man wielding a knife burst into the first academy's camp. "Mu Xiaobei. Get out. I'll kill you." This person turned out to be named 𝗔𝗯cie, a talent swordsman from the second academy. His relationship with Mu Xiaobei from the first academy was extremely poor. Upon hearing about swordsmanship, Ye Tian became interested. It was a perfect opportunity to get close to this person and copy his talent. Immediately, Ye Tian transformed into a little fan, cheering behind 𝗔𝗯cie. At this moment, a broadcast sounded, "No duels outside the wilderness area. Violators will lose their qualification for the test." Upon hearing this, 𝗔𝗯cie could only leave with a fierce threat, "Mu Xiaobei, consider yourself lucky for now. Once we're in the wilderness, I'll beat you up." However, Mu Xiaobei completely looked down on 𝗔𝗯cie, considering him nothing more than a barking stray dog. After 𝗔𝗯cie finished his tirade, he turned to Ye Tian behind him. "Hey, you. I respect you for rooting for me." With the chance to make contact, Ye Tian first probed 𝗔𝗯cie's talent and discovered it was middle-level skill in swordsmanship. Ye Tian reached out to him, "Good luck in the test, please beat Mu Xiaobei." 𝗔𝗯cie smiled and then firmly grasped Ye Tian's hand. "You also need to do your best and strive to come out alive." As their hands touched, Ye Tian successfully copied 𝗔𝗯cie's talent in swordsmanship. Just then, a voice came over the broadcast, "The test begins." As the gates of the wilderness area slowly opened, the various academies began to enter one by one. Once the first academy had confirmed their entry, Ye Tian left the group directly and went to an uninhabited area. Looking at the display showing the middle-level swordsmanship talent, he decisively pressed confirm. With a crackling sound emanating from his palm, his entire arm began to twist 360 degrees. Fortunately, after experiencing the pain of the previous 2 times, Ye Tian began to gradually adapt to the pain of replicating talents. At this moment, his only thought was to become stronger. Before long, the fusion of the talent was completed. Ye Tian couldn't wait to take out his blade. With a strong swing, the gleam of the blade appeared. In just a moment, he firmly grasped the middle-level talent in swordsmanship. Now, with middle-level cultivation and talent in swordsmanship, along with elementary speed talent, he was undoubtedly the strongest in this wilderness area. Just then, the broadcast announced the entry of the 5th Academy. This time, he chose to proceed alone again. The greater the risk, the greater the subsequent rewards. However, what Ye Tian didn't know was that at this moment, he had already caught the attention of a fierce beast. A gigantic green python loomed behind Ye Tian. Despite facing a fierce beast alone for the first time, there was no trace of fear in Ye Tian's eyes. As he looked at the python's gaping maw, Ye Tian drew his blade, then leaped forward, swiftly cleaving the massive creature in half. He then stooped down to gouge out its eyeballs. Killing such a beast only awarded a few points, but the test was about who could hunt the most fierce beasts. While the top 10 contestants would receive rewards in beast blood, only the top 3 would receive the ultimate beast blood along with cash prizes. Ye Tian scanned the area from a vantage point, knowing he needed to hunt as many fierce beasts as possible within the time available. However, just then, a familiar cry reached his ears. Following the sound, he discovered his friend 𝗔𝗯cie being besieged by a group of monsters. Seeing his teammates falling one by one, 𝗔𝗯cie was terrified and attempted to flee, only to be pounced on by a vicious wolf from behind. Ye Tian swiftly shot an arrow from his bow, killing the wolf instantly. Before 𝗔𝗯cie could recover, Ye Tian looked at him and asked casually, "Can I have all the points from these kills?" 𝗔𝗯cie couldn't believe it was Ye Tian who had saved him. After a moment, he realized and urged, "Ye Tian, run. You're no match for these monsters." Ignoring 𝗔𝗯cie's warning, Ye Tian felt a surge of crimson energy coursing through him. Then, like lightning, he darted forward, drawing the attention of the wolves. Drawing his waist sword, a faint blue sword aura enveloped him, his swordsmanship talent, slash. A dragon shadow appeared in an instant, cleaving through all the wolves. Witnessing the intense killing intent in Ye Tian's eyes, 𝗔𝗯cie felt both familiar and unfamiliar with him. The strength Ye Tian displayed by slaying all the wolves left 𝗔𝗯cie rooted to the spot. After collecting all the wolf fangs, Ye Tian turned to 𝗔𝗯cie and said, "I'll take these wolf fangs. You don't mind, do you?" Having witnessed Ye Tian's strength, 𝗔𝗯cie dared not jest as he had before. He simply sat down and expressed his intention to withdraw, realizing his survival in the previous encounter was already fortunate enough. Ye Tian sighed in resignation. However, at that moment, 𝗔𝗯cie informed him of an extremely important situation. A pseudo-fierce beast had appeared deep in the wilderness, worth 500 points. The First Academy had already received news and was heading to besiege it. Upon hearing about the 500 points, a smile spread across Ye Tian's face. Excitedly, he asked 𝗔𝗯cie, "Quick, tell me which direction." 𝗔𝗯cie barely lifted his hand to point before Ye Tian dashed off in that direction. He was determined to secure those 500 points. However, as he approached the depths of the wilderness, Ye Tian grew increasingly anxious. Along the way, all he encountered were corpses of students from the First Academy. Just then, flames shot up into the sky not far away. Ye Tian silently prayed that the fierce beast wouldn't die, then hurried towards the source of the fire. As he drew closer, he was completely shocked by what he saw. A monstrous creature, a snake-bodied ghost, stood tall amidst the flames. Despite the fierce attacks from the First Academy, the monster's scales remained unscathed. 𝗔𝗯cie yelled, "Useless. You're all useless. It's just a beast, it's bound to tire out eventually. Those 500 points are mine." As everyone launched a ferocious assault, the spotted snake let out a resentful roar. Seizing the opportunity, 𝗔𝗯cie thrust his sword fiercely towards the snake's head. With a splattering sound, purple blood gushed out, and the snake let out a howl of pain. Just as 𝗔𝗯cie thought he had successfully slain the beast, the snake erupted with a final burst of energy, sending him flying. However, it eventually collapsed due to exhaustion. Watching from afar, Ye Tian angrily struck the wall. He had arrived just a step too late. 𝗔𝗯cie emerged from the rubble with a punch, and his steward quickly bowed, "Congratulations, young master, on successfully obtaining 500 points." 𝗔𝗯cie laughed heartily, "First place belongs to me. I'd like to see what that useless 𝗔𝗯cie has to compete with." However, just then, the spotted snake suddenly opened its eyes. A surge of purple energy erupted from its body, elevating its bloodline power to the level of a fierce beast. With just a swing of its tail, members of the First Academy were killed one after another, and the snake took the opportunity to drag its heavily injured body away. Seeing this, Mu Xiaobei gritted his teeth. He couldn't let this fierce beast get away like this. The students of the First Academy looked at each other in dismay. This is a fierce beast. Should we continue to pursue? Mu Xiaobei roared angrily, useless. Is there even a need to ask? Pursue. We must pursue. Right now, it's worth 1,000 points. And it's injured, quick. We can't let anyone else snatch it away. However, what Mu Xiaobei didn't know was that at this moment, Ye Tian wore a sly smile on his face. Sorry, but those 1,000 points were already his.